All right, everyone. So tonight is our sentiment analysis in memory computing session, and the specific it's working with DB2 and RStudio in a cloud environment. So here is the agenda. We're gonna go a little bit of the walkthrough thing, do's and don'ts, common errors, how to validate the data load, some refresher for the SQL, a little bit on RStudio environment, and some troubleshooting. Okay. So I have to remind you this, where you post your questions, some general questions on assignment due date, go to the classroom. Questions on non-software concepts, go to the classroom, right? Syllabus questions go to the classroom. Then there is also a separate area for broken link. But if you need an assistant with DB2 service, if you have an issue with the RStudio, right? If you have any IBM Cloud account issue, SQL code or R code help, right? This stuff goes where to the Salesforce, right? So if you have issues with capacity hours, I need to know that. We need to know. Questions about the data and any technical issues go to Salesforce. But if there is something has to do about your specific grade, right, or anything that has to do with your specific special case scenarios, that goes to the instructor. Okay, just know that. Okay, now please do not submit any tickets to IBM. Most likely you're not going to be instructed to do that. Do not cancel your account, please. And do not enter credit card number. Please do not update our version in the integrated environment. Do not add more than one instance of DB2. Please don't do that unless I tell you to. Sometimes there are situations when you have to, but please do not uninstall our packages besides the one you are told to without checking. Please do not open RStudio in multiple browsers. You're going to consume hours. Okay. Avoid stopping running the data load. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but if you try to stop, cancellation can generate another process, and there could be problems. Okay. Please do not copy the code to Microsoft Word, because it's going to add some rich text characters and the code cannot be fixed. So you have to redo it. Okay. One example is Microsoft Quote. Okay. Do not avoid using browser back button. Then you know that accessing an RStudio by clicking the browser X button does not stop the runtime. You have to do the Q command to quit, then go back to your runtime, make sure nothing is running. Okay. Then please do not spend days on debugging the same error. Okay. You need to ask for assistance. Please do not open CSV file when you download it, and the reason is it has to do with the date format. I fixed the file in the text editor. I edited CSV file in the text editor to fix the date formatting. So please do not mess with it, right? If you accidentally did, then you need to re-download the CSV file. Okay? Okay. So let's look at the high-level steps. What you're going to do is you're going to read the dataset description and you're going to define the business problem, right? So today we're going to be looking at the hotel data, right? So the business problem would be analyzing the hotel reviews, right? In your sentiment analysis tutorial, right, you're looking at the airlines reviews, right? So you're going to load the data into DB2. You're going to check the log if there are any errors and warning. You're going to save the screenshot, right? Then you're going to check the table metadata, for example, like number of fields, their data types, right? You're going to want to make sure that the number of table columns match the number of the columns in the original file, right? Well, you can open it with a text editor, with a notepad, if you like. You're going to use SQL to analyze the data. You're going to write the meaningful queries that return some totals, subtotals. You're going to load data into our environment. Well, At the moment, you cannot load data, you cannot read data from database to R directly. So you're instructed to upload the data to object to the project, right? But initially, a couple semesters ago, you could read data straight from the database, which was nice. You're going to analyze data in R, you're going to interpret finding, you're going to reflect on the limitations and what potential studies you can do. Okay. Now, next thing is, so what is DB2 in the cloud? It's a cloud database. You get up to 200 megabytes of the storage. It has some built-in analytics. Basically, it's in the memory technology with advanced processes. It does not require to load the whole data set in memory. It only loads based on what query needs. It's so-called, it's a prefetching data before it's actually needed. So no decompression required. It reserves the order of data and performs a broad range of the operations. Okay, the data skipping, it means a large chunks of data are skipped depending on the query, right? Anything that query does not need, it gets skipped. Okay. So what analysis can be done? Well, you can do in R, you can do some trend analysis. You can do the term association, decision trees, clustering, hierarchical clustering, network of terms, right? You're given the code for some of this, all of these methods, most of these methods, and you need to choose two. For the assignment two, for the assignment three, sorry, you're gonna choose two, right? I would choose two and focus on two. Instead of running all of them and shallow analysis, no, choose two and focus on them, right? You have a list, exactly. And some visualizations too, right? So basically, you could also connect some external app to the DB2 in general, okay? Okay, so very important, if you delete the service, right, from your resources list, you will lose the work. There is no way to undo it, and you cannot recover the SQL code. So I recommend that you also save the SQL code on your local machine, okay? So like I have this SQL code for tonight, right? This is the SQL code for tonight. I have it saved on my PC, not just in a DB2, okay? So next thing, this is a structure of hotel data that I'm going to use for today's SQL analysis. So it contains the hotel address, hotel category, location data, name, right? Then the reviews text, reviews title, etc., and the user information. Okay. If you're gonna get a copy of the data, if you want to upload this data, those are the changes that you need to make when you upload the data, right? You're gonna get to the page where you may change the column lengths. Well, what's happening is that for some reason, when DB2 tries to pick up the column length, it's looking at the first certain number of records, and it does not pick up correctly. So I did some testing on my end, and I come up with this. So this settings do not fail the load, okay? Now, so when you load the data, right, this is just an example. So here is an example. This is how you access. Suppose that you forgot to take the screenshot after you loaded the data. You're gonna go to data. You're gonna go to the load history, and thank goodness this time it's working. See, I click on this load record, and it's gonna open this history. It shows that the number of rows that I loaded. Rows. This is the number of rows that were read from the file. Here is how many loaded, load start time and load end time, okay? So here, this is just the number of rows rejected. There should not be any. I did some work, I fixed the file, okay? And of course, there should be no warnings. But initially, in the initial data, there were some new line characters. which caused problems, and I was able to remove those. Okay. So that's a load history. If you forgot to take a screenshot right away, you can you can retrieve it. But Jesus, that was an example here. That has a lot of warnings because I forgot to change something. I forgot to adjust one of the column lengths, and it throws this error. But after it reaches 1,000 warnings, it's gonna stop the load. So it's gonna fail the load. So that's the reason I just went in and I fixed. And same thing for assignment 3 data, right? You told what changes you need to make, okay? To make sure that the data loads correctly. Okay. Next thing, and also make sure that it shows the date, right? When the load started and when the load ended. Okay. Okay. So, what does programmatic data validation mean? Programmatic means by writing what? The code, right? So, this is not programmatic data validation. Go in here, right? This is not. So here is a table, airline sentiment. Let's go ahead and click on it. And let's click view data. Is this programmatic load validation? No, right? Because I'm not gonna go ahead and validate the row one by one with the original file, right? I'm not gonna go do one row at a time comparison, right? There is no time for that. This is not a good way to do it, right? So what instead you need to do is there is a query that you need to run, and I saved the file. I saved the file here. So the first thing that you need to check is the number of rows, right? Remember count star, count, it will return the number of rows. And what is this? This is the column alias. I want the column header to show number of rows, right? So here, I'm gonna just run this, run selected, right? So when you run something, it adds this to the history. Then you can go, you select this, and you go to results. It shows the number of rows. But see this, if I did not put this alias, it would name the column something that I don't want to name it, okay? There is a table called system table, systables, and the table is located in a sysIBM schema. And that table stores the information on tables, right? A creator is you. And how do you know your schema name? It's right here, right next to you. See this? It's right here. This is your schema name. Schema name is nothing but your username. So creator is you, right? You have to put that here. Remember, those are what? The column names in a table. There are more column names, but because we are not doing the database administration, right? You're only interested in this. It's in the table name. Then we're gonna do the creator, which is gonna be you, right? And then this is the time and the number of columns. So let's run this thing. I'm gonna do, yeah, it's run selected. There are several options. You can do run all or you can do run selected. I do run selected now because I want to go over one query at a time, right? So that what does it show? It shows that I have two tables, airline sentiment and a hotel review. This is me, right? It matches me. This is the time, right? It's a creation time. And this is the number of columns in the table, okay? Then there is another table called system columns. And one thing very important, table name is stored in the uppercase. Table name stored in the uppercase in this metadata table, okay? Now, so that shows the table information. You can also check the column information. This is another one. And this is called the system columns. Okay, so this is a system columns table, and I'm just going to run this thing, run selected, run it once. Okay, so what this will show, see, this is the result here, right? And what it shows, the column name, the table name, right? And here, this is me. This is column data type. Nulls, it tells if the column may have missing values, which is yes in this case. And this is the column length, right? So here it is. Those are all my columns. And in this case, I limited this to run only for this table. That's what it does. TB name is a column called table name, okay? Well, it's a TB name, it's a table name, stands for table name, sorry. Okay, well, so that's what it means programmatically. So you expect it to have this queries. A creator, it's going to be your schema name, right? And of course, table name is going to be something different when you do it for your assignment 3, right? That's going to be the debate, right? The data set is about the debate. Okay, now suppose that you did something wrong, right? The load did not go well. You have several options here. When you load the data, you may overwrite the data in existing table. I'm not going to do that, but I'll show you. You go to data, then you can select the file that you want to load. Like, for example, I selected hotel reviews, right? I'm going to go next. Then I click select the schema. Then I select the hotel review. Then here I have an option to overwrite the data, right? That's one thing. Another way, and probably the best way, is to drop the table. If you forgot to specify the length of a column, right, as instructed at the time when you loaded the data, you got the errors. So what you want to do is this. You could go to your tables. Well, not gonna do it, but we'll show you. You click here, for example, hotel review, right? And there is an option here to drop the table. Not gonna do it, but there is an option to drop the table. So what drop the table does is it removes the table altogether, all data from in the table, and as well as the whole table structure, okay? So just know it. Delete command will delete the data from the table. Drop will remove the data and the table structure, okay? Truncate command will remove the data and will reclaim the space, but will keep the table structure. Delete command does not reclaim the space. This is a good interview question, okay? So here, this is how to drop the table, right? You go to table, find the table names, and choose the drop, right? But also you can do this programmatically, right? You can drop, or also this one, what this will do is it will truncate the table. Truncate does not remove the table from the schema, right? But it will delete the data from the table and also will immediately deallocate the space. Delete does not deallocate the space, okay? Truncate command deallocate the space. Just know that. This is an interview question, good interview question. Okay, so drop table, this is how you drop programmatically. You run this drop table and then put the table name. It will drop the table programmatically, okay? Now, this is where to access the data load status. If you forgot to take a screenshot at the time when you loaded the data, now it's possible to access the load history, okay? So just know it. Because at some point it was not possible and the students had to redo it just to take a screenshot. So now you don't need to redo it, okay? All right. So let's look again at the select statement. Those are the 6 clauses in select statement. Select is a comma delimited list of columns that you want to show in the output. From is a list of tables from which you want to select data. Where clause may contain the join condition if you selected data from more than one table, which is not going to be the case here. Then you also specify the conditions for filtering rows, okay? Like I specified the condition when I wanted to see the structure only of my table, right? Where table creator is me, right? I put my schema name, so that's where clause. Group by is the columns that you use for grouping data. Like, for example, I want to see the number of reviews for specific hotel. So I have to group by the hotel name, right? Having clause removes the set of groups, not set of rows, but set of groups. For example, suppose that I want to list hotels that have 50 or more positive reviews, just an example, right? So what you have to do is first you have to do the grouping. You have to count how many rows, right? How many rows per hotel, and then you eliminate the hotels that don't meet the having condition. So having is a subset of groups. Where clause is for filtering individual rows. So just know this. It's a good interview question. If you get in the job that requires a SQL, right? One good interview question is about the difference between delete and drop it truncate. Another one is the difference between where clause and having clause, all right? Order by, it's a delimited list of columns that you want to use for the sorting. But remember, every select statement must have at least select and from. You need to specify what you're selecting and from where, right? Spelling of table name must be the same. Exactly, it must match the table, the names as they are in the database, all right? Well, the column names are not case sensitive, but they are case sensitive if you're querying the metadata. The table names, column names are stored in the uppercase in the metadata table. Remember, metadata is what data about data, right? Those are the clauses of the select statement. There is also a with clause, but don't worry about it for this assignment, okay? Okay, so there are select statement with 2 conditions in the where clause. For example, I want to pull the reviews that have a neutral rating, and also I want to pull another condition is the reviewer name contains the word traveler. Okay, so here I want to do my search case insensitive. So I just go ahead and convert the column to the uppercase, and I put it like, so like it's a pattern matching. So the percent sign stands for any numbers, any number of any characters, then goes traveler, and then also any number of any characters. So let's go to the SQL, right? That's a SQL. This is an example when you have 2 conditions in a where clause, and I like to format the query, so that's why it's easier to read, but so I'll go run selected now. Well, now what you need to do, you need to select the results, you need to check the results, then you want to make sure that, oh, I forgot, which it's better to do this. It's better to do this. Control C, let's do this, Control V. It's better to select your viewer's username. You know why? Because I want to make sure that reviewer's username in fact contains the word traveler. Okay, so for your testing purposes, you want to run it like this. All right. So now I can go back here and you can check. See this? Reviewer username @traveler. But if you see something that does not contain the word traveler, it means that your query is incorrect. But see, the reason I converted it to uppercase for the comparison purposes, because see this, here the first letter is capitalized, here it's all in the lowercase. See that? We want the comparison to be case insensitive. So I did that. But again, if you see something here that does not contain the word traveler, it means that we need to go back to the query, right? And also, just for the testing purposes, you probably want to put the reviews rating. You want to select the reviews rating. Why? Because if your query returning something that's not neutral, then it means that query is wrong, right? So you do run selected. Not sure why I thought I had it in there. Okay, so now I got an error because something is wrong. Oh, I forgot letter R. Okay, so you saw the error message. This happens when the column name is wrong. You have to have the correct spelling of the column names. I go run selected. Now it's gonna be correct. See this? So now I go back and make sure if I have something where review rate is not, when reviewers rating is not neutral, it means that my query is wrong, right? And the query has to meet both of the conditions. Username contains travelers and rating is neutral, right? So you need to verify your work, okay? Now, next thing is a distinct. It's going to return the distinct values. So in your assignment 3, you want to check the distinct values of reviews rating because it's not always just positive or negative neutral. There could be more values, right? Sometimes there could be 5 values, depends on the data. See this? Well, in this case, I have negative, neutral, positive, slightly negative, slightly positive, and there are some reviews that have missing values. See this? Some reviews have unknown. Okay. So this is just a distinct list of the reviews. But then I also want to check how many times, right? How many times each reviews appears, right? How many records per sentiment values. So what I need to do is this. I need to select review ratings, and I want to do the count and not count star, but count review rating. I'm gonna put exactly column name, and I'll tell you why. So I run the selected. Well, because when you put the column name, oh, see this, that's a problem now. It's ignoring the missing values. See this, it's ignoring the missing values. Shows 0 for some reason. All right, because I put straight the column name. So see this, it's showing I have 453 negative, I have neutral, I have positive, and I have slightly negative, but the slightly positive, but the sum should actually match the number of rows in the table, right? But in this case, see this, the problem is it's keeping missing values right now, right? But so now suppose that I want to see how many reviews are missing the value. So what do? I just do select count star. Then I put the table name and I have to say where review rating is now. That will gonna show me how many reviews are missing the values. Is there 18? There are 80, sorry. So you have 80 reviews that do not have the sentiment values. But the problem was here, it did not show you. See, it did not show 80. You see this? That's a problem. We have to fix it. This is when I look at this, I'm expecting to see 80 here. So there are several options on how to count the missing values here. So what you could do is this. You can use the function called NVL, And NVL is going to say, okay, if review rating is null, it's going to count it as unknown, okay? And here I just put count 1. It's going to just count number of times. This is just like a hypothetical column, if you will, okay? So this will show me how many times each review rating appears, but this time I want to count the nulls as unknown, okay? So let's just do this one. Let's just do, so run. So what this does here, see this, if it's unknown, it's going to show unknown, right? I picked this data set intentionally because there are missing values, and in your assignment 3 data, there are some missing values. So you need to know how to handle them. And I just want to do, I decided to treat them as unknown, right? And just count, have a separate line. And it's going to show me how many times, right? And it's going to show 80. Because this count, if you add this up, right, it should match the number of rows in the table. Okay? Oh, that was that. Oh, this is just, it just spells out, right? The column names, see times mentioned. They just explained this. That's in the group by clause. Important, the group by, the columns that you put in the group by clause must be non-aggregate columns in a select clause. So anything that does not have count, sum, or average around it, right? So name is a non-aggregate column. It must go to the group by. Do you remember you had the some queries with multiple grouping columns in one of your assignments? It was as an ungraded exercise, right? So those type of queries appear again as non-graded in the sentiment analysis tutorial, but then in assignment 3, you're gonna see that as graded, okay? So this is just showing you the query. This is a number of tweets by province, but we're gonna get to it. But see here, this is just how many times each hotel mentioned. I want to know how many times each hotel mentioned in the category of review is a hotel, and I'm grouping by name, right? That's what this does. Let's gonna do run selected. Well, see, you asked to do something similar in assignment 3, right? But this one is how many times the hotel is mentioned. You asked to do how many times each candidate is mentioned as a way. Okay, so this is just name, the count is name and times mentioned. But here is assumption that there are no missing values in this case. Okay, that's just an assumption. Because if there are missing values, do you remember what happened? There would be the line, the blank line, right? And 0 count. All right. Now, well, okay, here we know how many times each hotel was mentioned, but now I want to limit. I want to select the hotels. Let's say how many hotels were mentioned more than, I changed it to 50, more than 50 times, right? I want to know how many hotels were mentioned more than 50 times. How do I do this? Well, I need to do what? I need to do the having clause, and I have to specify the count greater than 50, right? This is not the where clause, this is having clause because I'm doing what? I'm filtering the groups, right? So I have to highlight, let's highlight this, and I'm gonna run this selected query, okay? Well, let's see that. All right, now I'm just gonna skim through this since there are not that many. If I see a number that is lower than 50, it means that my query is incorrect, okay? You have to kind of like check your work here, right? So if I see something like 30 here, it means that something is wrong, okay? Well, this is just checks how many times each sentiment mentioned, right? review rating, and then you do the count, right? So you're gonna skip, oh, this is another way. This is another way. You want to skip in this specific scenario, you want to skip the rows where review rating is unavailable. So this is another way to handle missing values. So you have to specify in the paper of which approach you chose. I can treat missing values as unknown, right? Or I can put other, right? Or I can skip missing values altogether. I can skip the rows. So just go run selected in this case. What that will do, it will show all counts, but it's not gonna show the missing ones. Okay, because I said where review rating is not null. Okay. But this one here, well, this one is gonna treat the unknown. It's gonna treat the null sentiment as unknown. And also, instead of saying count one, that's another way, I put this NVL and treat this as unknown, okay? And you're gonna group by this, okay? See, this is the column that you group this by. You just copy it here. So now let's go ahead and we're gonna run this one. Run selected, okay? Well, there are different ways to handle missing values, and I'm just showing you multiple ways. And in this case, I did not specify how I want to sort it, so it just did randomly. I would have to add order by clause if I want to sort this. So for example, suppose that I want to sort it by the number of tweets, right? And I can do this here. I can do order by, but look here, when I do order by, I can specify the column name, or I can specify the column position in a query. So if I do this order by 2, it's going to sort by the second column in a query. And I believe default is ascending. Okay, so let's do run selected and let's see what happens here. Yeah, the default is ascending. It just sorted. All right. Order by 2, it means it's gonna order by column, which is second in the query. See, I did not want to repeat all of this here. I just put the position number. You can do that. Okay, just know that. Okay. Well, now this is gonna be tough. Okay, but before we do that, let's look, make sure we did the slides here. Well, but next query is going to be, this is very important, okay? This is a summary. What I try to achieve here, I want to have one line for hotel, and I want to have a column for each review, right? For each review sentiment, and I want to show the counts. For example, see this, I have a hotel name here, and one row per hotel, and I want to list number of positive, slightly positive, neutral, slightly negative, negative, unknown, and then the total. So how do I do this? Well, there are several steps here. This is just this is actual query, but you need to do the preparation for this. So how do you do the preparation? Well, first of all, let's look at this, what this does. Okay, so this is just a preparation. I'm going to do run selected. What you could do is this. In the first column, see, you're looking at the rating, you're looking at the hotel name, you display the hotel name, you display the hotel rating. Then in the first column, if the review rating is positive, you're going to return a 1. If the review rating is negative, you're going to return, if it's not positive, you're going to return the 0. Okay, so this is a column. Remember, the query may return the calculated columns. So what I'm saying here, this is just a case statement. I'm saying if review rating is positive, return a 1, otherwise return a 0. And the column name is positive, okay? Now, here, what I'm saying is that if review rating is slightly positive, return a 1, otherwise return a 0, okay? So that's another column. Next column is if it's neutral, then return 1, otherwise 0. Here, you are just saying if it's negative, then 1, otherwise 0. Okay, well, slightly negative, negative. This one is no. If it's no, then gonna 1, otherwise 0, and it's gonna say here unknown. So this will produce this, right? This is like a virtual table, if you will. So that's the first step. But can we add the sum in here? Yes, we can. So this is like our column, all right, positive. But I can put in here sum and put this in parentheses, right? Can I do this? Yes, I can, right? I can take the sum. So if I take the sum of this column, it's gonna show me how many ratings are positive for hotel, right? If I take the sum of this column, it's gonna show how many ratings are slightly positive. I can take some here, it's gonna tell me the number of ratings, number of neutral, number of slightly negative, number of negative, and number of unknown. So the final query, what I did is just I added the sum. You want to remove the rating here, right? Because you're doing the count. And see, this is the same query, similar query as above, but I just took the sum, right? And then here, just the total. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this query. This is the final query. And you're gonna have something along this line in assignment 3. The purpose is to isolate the A students. If you want an A, you need to know how to do this, okay? Well, no guarantee, but you need to know how to do this one. So let's take a look at this here. So here, this is ambassadors in suit, and this shows how many positive reviews, how many slightly negative, neutral, well, etc., right? And this is a total. So how do you verify your work? The sum of these columns has to match the total, okay? Then I also have a query that returns how many times each hotel is mentioned. So the last column from this query must match the counts of how many times each hotel mentioned. So this is how you're going to verify the work. But the difference is how many times each candidate mentioned. Or in this tutorial, there is a query that you need to write, right? I believe it's airline or something like that, okay? So is that you're gonna have one line for airline and you're gonna count, but the values are different, so just watch out. The values are different. But in general, if you were doing it as a report in another software, you would have to do the cross-tab. If see here, it's different because you only have 5 values, but if the number of values is unknown, it's impossible to do it here. But if you were using the reporting software, you would have to use something called the cross-tab report, where each column would have been the value, right? And each row is a hotel. Also here, see, this is one of the limitations of this query, let's say. And the limitation is that we have to, hard code, we have to know the values in advance here, okay? We cannot do this without knowing values in advance. That's one of the limitations to mention in the paper, right? So this is just, it just shows again, there is a problem when review rating is null, right? Because see, the problem is it's just gonna not show any counts. So to fix it, you have to you can put count 1, or you can use NVL function to treat the nulls as unknown, right? We talked about that. Now we talked about the select statement with the grouping columns, but what if select statement has 2 grouping columns? Okay. Well, then you have to put both group in column in a group by clause. So see here, I want to list the province, I want to list review rating, and I want to do the column. So which column am I grouping by? The province and review rating, right? And this is a count, this is the aggregate column. So I would say this 99% of time, you will be correct. If you take all non-aggregated columns from select clause and put them in a group by clause, most of the time the query will be correct, okay? So you're gonna run selected, then you're gonna check, see? This is a province and this is a review rating, and you do the count, okay? Right? Then I did not specify anything, any having clause, so there is no restriction. Now there's gonna be a new topic, subqueries. For your assignment, you must have a query with a subquery. So what is a subquery? Well, as the name calls it, it's a query inside the query. Subquery may return a single value, or it may return the values list, right? So it's like a single column with multiple rows. It may return the table, virtual table, multiple rows with multiple columns. You can place the subquery in a select from where and having clause of the main query. You cannot place the subquery in a group by or order by. If some of you think that you can, I would like to see an example. Okay, I would like to see an example of it working, because I know that you cannot. Only select from, where, and having. All right. So, like for example, the subquery that returns one value for comparison can go to the where clause or the having clause of the main query. The virtual table usually goes to the from clause. Okay, like for example, that complex query that we were looking at, you could do this. You could do it as a subquery, right? This guy here could be a subquery, and then you could be selecting from it. See what I'm saying? This could be a view. You could create a view here, or you could treat this as a subquery. Okay, you could treat it as a subquery and just do the counts from it. You could treat it as a subquery if you wanted to. But here, so this is now here. I want to. I will go back to the slides first. So this is an example of the values list. The query returns the provinces that do not have any positive rating. So how to do that? First of all, I need the distinct list of provinces that have at least one positive rating, right? So subquery here, select distinct province, is going to return the list of provinces that have at least one positive rating. But the main query is going to say select distinct province, where province not in that list. See what I'm saying? The subquery returns a list of provinces that have at least one positive rating. But then the main query has to say that where province not in the list, not on the list returned by the main query, right? So let's see if I have this code in here. I must have, but this is a little bit more complex example. Oh, this is a simpler example. So see this inner query is going to return the distinct list of provinces that have a positive rating, right? So in other words, see this is going to return this list. This is a list of provinces that have at least one positive rating, but not all of them have it. So just think about it. You take this list and you plug it in here. Remember, the query could have something like not in, and you can specify the exact list, right? But you want it to be dynamic. You don't want to be regenerating the list each time you run a query. So that's the purpose of the subquery. I just put here not in, and I'm just going to do run selected. And this is going to just return the provinces that do not appear on the list that returned by my subquery. See what I'm saying? You just take this and you plug it in here. So you may want to work on it slowly. You may want to make sure that you have the subquery working first. And then you try to plug it in and see if it works together. Before you test it together, you want to test it what? You want to test it separately. Make sure the subquery is working, then put it back, right? Well, this one is a little bit more complicated, where you have to do hotels that do not have a location in a GA. Well, probably the same. So what you're doing is that you want to know which hotels have a location in the GA, right? And here you're just gonna do the not in. See? So first you have to find out which hotels have location in the province GA. So this will return the list of hotels that have location in Georgia, right? GA is Georgia. So I'm gonna go right select, unselected. See? So this is a hotel, right? So then you're gonna run this whole thing, and you want to make sure that that hotel is not. Oh, I see. Because when I selected, I forgot to include the parentheses. Run selected. Okay. Now here, this is a list, right? This is a list. Okay, so you want to make sure that the hotel returned by this query does not appear in the list. If it does, it means that something is wrong. Okay. Here is provinces that do not have any positive review, right? So we looked at that earlier. This is a little bit more complex. You want to look the average number of posts. Well, this query is just going to look at the average number of posts per hotel name, right? So that's the average number of positive posts, rather. Okay, so here you just do, here this inner query, right? The inner query is going to return the hotel name and another number of positive posts for that hotel. Okay, it's a number of positive posts for that hotel. But I want to know an average of this column, right? So see this is an example of the, it's like a table subquery. The subquery returns this table, the hotel name, and this is the number of positive posts. Then I'm taking this and I'm calculating the average here. Okay, I'm calculating the average, which is 22. Okay, so now I want to know which hotels have above average number of positive posts, right? So I know how to calculate my average, right? So what I could do is I could substitute, I could put having count greater than 22, right? But what if my data changes? I don't want to go back and rerun the subquery to get the count, average count, all the time, right? I want this to be done dynamically. So I put this subquery, but look, first you have to list the hotel. You need to list the number of positive reviews from hotel. Where reviews are positive, category is hotel. But here you put in a having clause because you want to eliminate the hotels that that have the count equal to or less than 22 in this case. Okay, so I took this subquery and I plugged it in here. So this is an example of the nested subqueries and also the subquery in a having clause, right? But for your assignment, you have to have one of the query, at least one of the queries must have a subquery, and the query must have a purpose. You need to explain what it returns, and you need to interpret the data, okay? Well, so see here, I want to look through this, since there are not that many. If I have a row where the count is 22 or less, it means that my query is wrong, right? So here I want to do the interpretation, and I could say, see this DoubleTree hotel has the highest number of positive reviews, right? Then I could say, which hotels has the least number of positive reviews but still above 22, well, etc. Right? You can look at hotels with the most number of positive reviews, and you can also turn it around. You can put it less than, and you can check which hotels have the least number of positive reviews. So you have to interpret what the query returns, in other words, right? So in this case, you may discuss, okay, so DoubleTree has the most number of positive reviews. Then you're gonna say, okay, you can specify which one is next, and probably you can sort it. You can sort it either by hotel name or you can sort it by this town. Okay, and you can sort it ascending or descending. Make sense? Okay. So now let's go back to slide. So that was the simple part, and that's an explanation of the subquery. See this? This is a subquery, right? Well, in this case, well, that was 25, but it was different data subset. So, well, you got the idea, right? Now, another thing is that for RStudio, at some point, there were several environments. You want to select that one, the one that two CPUs, okay? If there are multiple, right now I believe there is only one, which saves us some headache, okay? The RStudio environment consumes one capacity unit per hour. So I wanted to say it's very important that you quit the environment. Some of you were reporting the errors with the issues with the memory. Well, I have some tips for you then. Do not load the package in memory until you actually need to use the package. Like, for example, the text analysis. Until you get to text analysis, you may want to hold on loading the package. Well, it's a recent change. They just recently cut off how much memory each student gets. So we need to work around it. And the workaround is to not to load any packages until you actually need them. Then you want to remove the object from memory when you no longer need it. Like, for example, you create the text document matrix, right? If you no longer need to use that matrix, you might want to remove, right, from the memory. Here, well, sometimes it shows you disk utilization, sometimes not. It depends on the version. But, well, what you should do is delete all visualizations that you no longer need to reduce the disk space, remove objects from memory no longer in need. Well, you see this, the matrix is too large. In this case, it shows the matrix was consuming a lot of space. But what you also should do is you should remove the sparse term from the matrix. One of your questions is why we remove the sparse term. One reason is because you want to save the required storage space, computational complexity. So you want to remove the sparse term before you actually run anything. That will help you with disk utilization. Delete all the plots, right? You can delete the files that you no longer need them, but this is not the case. Object storage is not the case in this example, right? But see, the thing is, it's a good exercise to control the memory. Then after that, you want to check. Do not close the browser tab. You want to check to make sure that you stop the environment before you exit, okay? Make sure, very important, before you exit, you need to stop the environment because otherwise it's going to continue running and it's going to consume your hours, okay? So that's still 10 hours per month. And you should have gotten the hours back to 10 when the month started, okay? So this shows no active environments. This is what you're going to see, okay? Well, this is just a little bit of, you have the network of terms analysis. If you choose network of terms for your assignment, you need to add this part, and this part is already in the code. But you want to, if possible, if it still works, if it does not generate the memory errors, you want to look at the clique. This is called the subset of quits that appear together, and this is a subset of terms graph. So just to point out, when you are working on assignment 3, you want to go a little bit beyond what you're given in the code and try to play around with method parameters, right? For if you choose network of terms, you want to talk about the community detection. And I believe one of the readings has some information on this. Then you can also run the code that returns the maximum subset of width with positive sentiment. That's what it's doing in here. See that? So that subset is called clique. So this is just how to do this plot, and this is already in the code. You have the code provides you examples of different methods, but for you, you choose just 2 and focus on 2 for assignment. Okay. So then another thing is that if you launch DB2, and if you don't see the option to add the credentials, it means that you're probably not logged into IBM Cloud. You might be logged into the Cloud Pak. So this was one of the issues that students ran into previous semester when they did not see the option to add service credential. It's because you need to add the from IBM Cloud Catalog, and you should not be logged into Cloud Pak, because Cloud Pak, remember, it does not allow you to actually manage applications. You manage applications on where? On IBM Cloud, right? So then with R, this is an error. Issue, I received no applicable method for inspect found. Okay, well, the thing is, you may have packages, you may have several packages that have a function with the same name. Like, for example, if you have a rules package in memory for the association rules, and you also have text analysis package in memory, they both have a function called inspect. So how do you know which function you actually calling? You need to qualify the function name with the package name. This is how you would do that. But honestly, what I recommend unloading the packages not using. Okay, well, because of the current limitation, the cutback on the memory for a good reason, because some students used to just run and run and run and run outside of the control. So then they say, okay, let's limit to make sure that people control how much memory they use. Okay. Well, here, this is an error message that you're gonna get if you misspell the column name. You want to make sure that you query in the correct table. Like, for example, if I select from sentiment, and the table name is airline underscore sentiment, I'm gonna get an error, right? See here, example tweet ID, I missed the underscore before ID and I got an error because it does not recognize the column name, right? You want to make sure that you have correct column names, correct spelling, okay? And then you can read more about the error message, but I'm telling you, most of the errors have to do with the spelling, right? And this one is just this is the incorrect table name. That's an error you do get when you do incorrect table name. Okay. Additional tips: you need to save the copy of the code on your PC, both SQL and R. What happens if DB2 is down? DB2 is down at the time when you need to submit the assignment. You won't be able to get to your SQL code, right? So you want to keep the copy locally. You want to use a notepad or TextPad, but don't use any rich text editor. Do not use the Word because it inserts the characters that you cannot actually see, and it's gonna ruin the code. So please make sure you don't do this. You want to follow instructions, right? And then you want to keep in mind the following code, okay? The best way to get it done, you want to begin, okay? Okay, in RStudio, well, what do you mean, how to delete? Well, you just unload the package from memory. Melinda, remember to unload the package from memory? You can do it programmatically, right? And I have some comments in here. Well, this is just to the library will show what you have, list of install packages. Search will show the packages in memory. This is how to clear the console. This is how to remove variables from memory or variables from memory. C is a combine command. So that combines individual things into a vector. Okay. But how do you what's it? Okay. Okay, so let's see. Oh, okay, I hope this helps. But let's look at RStudio if you want to. So now I need to log into the Cloud Pack. Oops. Cloud Pack. Oh. Okay, so let's see what's gonna do. It's gonna ask me now for my. Oh, no worries. No worries. Okay, so I'm gonna go to projects, all projects, right? And I have a code for airline data on there. Okay. So I can go to this project and I'm gonna do the launch RStudio IDE, right? Well, and this is the RStudio. Let's see what's gonna happen. Well, first of all, you want to do reset workspace when you launch it, okay? This is a correct environment. Thank goodness there is only one. I'm gonna do launch. Let's see. Always do reset workspace. It's now running installing the runtime. Okay. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Okay. And I believe I saved the code. Well, it's gonna take a little bit of time. Not sure why. Well, it happens. Because I said to reset the workspace. So that should clear out what I had in memory, right? Don't do what I'm just doing. Don't do that. What I just get. Well, it's still setting it up. Starting runtime. Okay. So it's gonna do it now. Okay, good, cool. Well, let's see if I have anything in here. Well, see this I do. It still did not delete this. So before I start anything, what I want to do is I want to delete everything that I have, right? Okay. What is this? Well, see, you have to do it slowly, okay? You have to do this slowly, like this. See, so I have to see this. I have a lot of stuff in here. What I need to do is let's do this. See this? This is a sentiment I want to delete. Oh, but I did not upload the file. See, that's a problem. I did not upload the data file to the to this object storage, so that won't work. But in general, Jesus, it is reading from another. Okay, so what I need to do, Jesus, I can do it as list or I can look at it as grid. And if I look at it as grid, it's going to show me the sizes. So what I do, I'm going to remove all of that, right? So let's use a broom and remove all of this. I want to remove all of this. Then the plots, well, I don't have anything, right? I remove all of this. Oops. Then I also want to run this command. What is it? JC, right? It's gonna remove all of the objects, right? It's supposed to remove all of the objects that were unused because it does not necessarily reclaim the memory. Well, and see this in here, it shows the memory usage. See, it shows free unused memory in here. When you're running out of this memory, you need to clean up. It's time to clean up, okay? Let's see if I have any files in here. Oh, I don't. I needed to upload the file. So basically, well, what I had to do is I had to go to this here. I had to go to here and I have to upload the file. I don't have the file in this folder. So what I need to go to the data, right? And I need to upload my file, load data. And let's see where I have this. I have it somewhere. Desktop. Do I have this? Oh, I have it on my desktop. Airline sentiment. I'm gonna upload it because I did not have it here. I uploaded it to my project, right? Then I need to go to the assignment. Oh, I'm not gonna see assignments free this way because I did not submit the tutorial, but oh wait, no, never mind. I need to look at the tutorial. I need to look at the tutorial code. So I go here, okay, and the R code. Oops, it's here, right? So I'm gonna go to this here. This is the R code, right? And I'm gonna go and do this. Control C, right? Well, let's see. I'm gonna go back to this. Oops, RStudio. Okay, so here I want to do the new file, right? And the R script, I'll paste it here. Well, you have to monitor the memory, right? So, but let's see what packages I have right now. Oh, I have this already installed, right? So I don't need to install it again. I already installed it. Now I'm going to read the data. Let's see. I read the data. Well, do you see this? Well, it went down. It went down. How much space I have, right? Now I'm gonna list the number of rows. So far, so good. Right? Gonna do this. So far, so good. Right? Number of tweets per airline. So far, so good. Right? So this is just listing this. Good. Good. Right? Well, okay. Good. So see this? Now the memory went up. Why it went up? Because this picture takes memory, right? Gonna run again. See, the memory went up. The picture takes memory. So you take a screenshot of the picture and you're gonna delete this. Delete. See, the memory utilization should. This is the remaining memory. It should go up, right? I delete this picture. Okay. So I'm gonna get back some of my memory. Okay. Well, now this is a library. Let's read this library. So far, so good. Now this one, it creates the reason count, right? Reason count, do you see it's taking the space, right? I no longer need the reason count. So what I can do, well, in this case, it's just small space, but I can go in and remove this. I don't need this anymore. Now I'm gonna load the library called ggplot. See, you monitor the memory. Run. See this? Well, you know, it's our memory used. See, this shows the memory used. Okay, so you basically have to load and you have to look. See this? So here, see this? I'm creating new variables. See? Oh wait, it's supposed to be updating this. It's supposed to be updating it. Not sure what's going on. Oh, error. Oh, it's because see this? I did not do something. Oh, because I deleted something from memory that is being used. So you have to look through the code. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at the code. But see, you have to load the library. Let's see. It loaded this. Reason counts. Oh, I deleted reason counts, but I need it. So sorry, let's go back here and let's run it again. And let's run it again. You cannot delete it yet. So now it's supposed to work. It's supposed to work, but take a look at this. What is it doing now? Take a look, what is it doing with the memory? Well, so far we are still good, right? See the spike here, we're still good. This one, we should still be good, right? This should be good, still good. This one. But see this, as I keep on going, what happens to my memory? The memory that I'm using is what? Going up, right? It will slowly go up. So you have to keep on cleaning what you don't need. Well, see this, it keeps on going up, keeps on going up. It's because, see, and now I'm doing it again, and it keeps on going up, keeps on going up. But did I reach the issue yet? Not yet, but I will shortly. I will shortly, because, well, see this, I have more and more and more and more stuff. Now take a look at this. It shows how much memory it's taken, right? So far, nothing major, but those little things add up, see? So see, I have this plot, I take a picture of it, I no longer need it, I'm gonna delete it, right? I delete everything that I don't need. Now what's gonna happen? I'm doing more and more and more stuff, right? Oops. Oh, okay. Okay, so you have to look at this load fail for a loose call. I have to look at this. Not sure why it's doing it, but okay, I have to look at what's going on. But see, if you go to the packages, well, there should be package rules. There should be a rules package. See, you can try to do it this way too. Okay, so it looks like it's loaded. Not sure why it's throwing an error, but you keep on going through this. Okay. Well, and if you keep on growing through this, right, you can create more and more and more stuff, right? Oh, the space. Oh, thank you, 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 thank you. So the space where? Here? This one?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Oh, well, but you keep on going through. Well, and you see this? Do you see this thing here? It's getting bigger. So whatever you don't need, you need to go here and you need to remove, right? If you don't need it, you can remove it. Anything that you don't need, like when you're done with this method, you're gonna go here and you're gonna do the remove. You keep on cleaning and cleaning, cleaning. You see what I'm saying? It reclaims the space that you have, right? Then you go to the text mine and you install these packages which are already installed. Well, and look what's gonna happen now. So far, so good. So far, so good. Okay. So far, so good. Right? Then here, I'm doing something. So far, good. Keep running. Good so far. Good, 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 right? Haha. So now should be good. Good. Still good. Still good, right? Still good, still good. Keep going. Now the problem is going to start with the matrix, right? So you need to add the function to remove the sparse terms. I believe somewhere I put this here. So you do this DTM, and then in here you have to remove the sparse terms. Yes, because see this? Yep. You have to remove sparse terms. You cannot do. Oops, somewhere I have this code. Remove sparse terms. Okay, you want to do that there too? Yeah. Where is it? Okay. So here you want to remove sparse terms, right? You want to do that before you create matrix M. Oh, now could not find the function remove sparse term because you have to reload the package back to memory, right? So you have to go back and you have to do library TM, right? Well, see, I have a lot of stuff in here, that's why. But it should not have been thrown at this point. So basically, you just go through this slowly, and you have to remove stuff as you don't need it. When you're done with analysis, right? When you're done with analysis, you need to remove the sparse term. Now take a look at what's gonna happen. This matrix is big, right? But now it's not as big because I removed the sparse terms, right? And you can control the sparsity. You can control, okay? This is just a preview, oops. Oh, because I have only 6 columns, that's why it's throwing an error. Because I used the different, okay, let's run this here and let's do this, right? So let's run this. Now it's gonna show, but see the matrix is bigger right now. Why is it bigger? Because I changed the number here, right? So now I'm trying to find the frequent terms. I want to find the association. So far, so good. Now, see this? I'm creating another one. See? So I'm using up more space and more space and more space. Now I have to load the word cloud package. I believe it was loaded, but it got unloaded. So I'm going to do it again. Load library word cloud. Take a look. I'm still good with my memory, right? So I'll go back here. Okay, where is that? We've done that, right? So I'm gonna go through, oops, word cloud somewhere. Sorry, guys. So we did that, right? So we have, oh, it's here. I can do the word cloud, okay. Oops. Well, oh, because I removed this. I removed this column, so I need to go back and take a look at what I did, right? Object word cloud. Oh, dark2 not found. Okay, because I have to define it. I did not run it, sorry. I run this, now it's supposed to work, right? Then you can restart it, take a look at what's happening, it's going up, see? The memory that I'm using is going up. Now, I'm done with the word cloud package. So what I can do is this, I can unload it, right? Or I can unload it programmatically if I want. See, I did the detach, right? To unload. Now, see, that's another thing in memory. Another thing. See, so far so good. So far good, right? Now there's gonna be a problem, right? See this, it's going up. It's going up. And it's going up. And it's going up. Well, so see, you want to remove what you don't need, right? Let's remove this plot here. Well, still didn't help, but then I can look at what I'm not using and remove that too. But let's see for right now. Okay, good, 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 right? Good. Oops. Now this is a problem because this matrix is big. I should have done to preview the subset. See, now I'm gonna have a problem because I should have previewed just the subset. Okay. Yep. So I ran into a problem. You don't view the whole thing. You want to review perhaps 10 rows, something like that. Okay. Well, but you got the idea, right? You have to run it slowly and you need to kind of like monitor the memory. Let's stop this. Stop. Yeah. Well, okay. It was my fault. I should have previewed the subset, not the whole thing, okay? Well, and you keep on going through, right? But you want to remove what you don't use, okay? You don't want to keep everything in memory. Keep as less as possible, okay? Packages you load only when you use it and the time you use it. Does it make sense? Well, yeah, but the thing is, yes, but you want to you don't want to do view the whole matrix. You can do what I did at someplace else. I viewed only the first 10 rows, 10 columns, okay? You don't want to view the whole thing, okay? That part would not compute. Well, it should. It should. If you remove the sparse term, and if you remove all of this, it should. But if it doesn't compute for you, then you might choose two other different methods. There's two different methods that do. Which part did not compute? Where is it? Because now I have to rerun. I have to rerun everything again to get back to that part. See, I have to rerun the whole text analysis now.
Yeah, that's the
to get
problem
back.
I had too with in that last bit that you just had with the term matrix, it would just sit there and run similarly to the A rules viz, where it would just sit and run and it wouldn't. But I didn't.
Skip visualization then. Just skip visualization and let Professor Razan know.
Yeah, and then I didn't. I mean, like those tips that you're giving for like removing packages and deleting everything to try to help move it along. But yeah, and also I was curious, like how many hours should we have consumed for this the
Well,
exercise?
if you use like 1 or 2, you should be good.
No, no, I'm like at 3.5 now.
Okay, well, okay. Then you still have 5 for assignment. 3, you're good.
Okay, so just as long as I have like 5 for assignment,
You're
3,
good.
okay.
Yeah, you should be good. Prepare the code ahead of time. And you know what? You're not gonna be using all of these methods. That's the thing. You're gonna be using just maybe 2 so and some visualizations. You're not gonna be running all of them. So pick what you're gonna run, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And yes, and scissors are gonna just free unused R memory. Scissors, it dropped. You want to free unused R memory at all times, and you want to monitor this, right? Okay. Then, so I'm gonna quit this. And how do I quit? I can go here, quit session, right? Then what I have to do, I have to close. I don't just close this tab. I go back to this here. And this is a project where launch the RStudio. You go to manage, you go to environments, and you can stop it like this. Stop, right? You want to stop this. Stop. I use 0.3 now. But since I get really paranoid with this for good reasons, I can still go to the administration and I can still make sure here that nothing is running. Well, it's me. And it did not refresh. It's supposed to say 0.3 now because I use 0.3. It takes a little bit of time to actually refresh. Not sure. But anyways, I use just 0.3. It should show this. Okay? Does it make sense? Well, because see, for the actual assignment, you're not going to be using all methods, which is good news. You just put what you use, you know? Does it make sense? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. The delete and the managing that stuff, I think that'll help out a lot. So thank you.
Sure. Yes. I mean, I had to show you this. Yes. It's hard to explain it unless you like go ahead and show this. Yeah. And I'm gonna give you the hotels file. I'm gonna give you the slide, and I'm gonna give you this. Will that work? I'll give you. But when you try to run it, remember this is gonna be your schema name, right? It's not gonna be my schema name. You don't have access to my tables. You have access to your tables only. Okay. Cool. Anything else, guys? Any other questions, concerns I can address for you? And oh, Professor Ozan, if you're still here, anything you want to say?
No, Yelena, you did an amazing job. Thanks for your time. It's like 1 hour, 30 minutes already. I guess you responded to a lot of good questions too, and thanks for the folks who are joining and asking questions. It's an amazing session. Yelena. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. Anything else, folks? No? Yes? Going once, going twice? If there are no more questions, then I'm gonna end this session. I'm gonna stop the recording. Oh, wait, anything in the chat? Looking at the chat. Oh, most welcome, most welcome. And yes, guys, have a great night and enjoy this assignment, right? So I'm gonna stop the recording.